What is going on, everybody? All the gamers out there, we are back with another episode. It's your boy PTK Blam. Another episode of the Shop Podcast, tuning in live every Saturday, same place, same time, giving you that good gaming information, that good game talk. But we got a great panel here. As you guys can see, we are one amigo down. Shout out to Stag, not feeling too well today, so once again, sending our positive energy to Stag, hoping he feels a bit better. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. It's lit this week, man. Next week is show 200. I got something to say specifically about episode 200. It's going to be a very, very, very special show, but I'm going to wait to the end of the show to talk about that. So please stay, hit the like button, retweet the link, let everybody know we are live here today at the Shop Podcast. But before we do anything else, this is very, very, very important to me that we do this. So here in this community, I've been a part of this community for an extremely long time, for 5, 6 years now, and there's certain people that just touch you in a different way. Now I'm talking about our brother I Dizzy. Obviously, a lot of us in the community are watching the show in the chat right now. Passed away recently, so R.I.P. to Dizzy. Shout out to his family, sending prayers and thoughts to everybody that was close to him, everybody that he touched me personally, specifically personally in a different way outside of video games as well. So I am very fond of him. So thoughts and prayers to his family. So I do want to give a quick, maybe like a 5 second moment of silence here, if you guys don't mind, just for I Dizzy, and then we'll continue with the show. All right, everybody. So shout out to Iron Lords, I Dizzy, his family. Thoughts and prayers, everybody. Just sending positive energy their way. So let's continue this thing. We're gonna keep it going. We're gonna keep the energy up. I just had to make sure that we did that. It's very, very important. Just to myself personally, and just about everybody here on the panel as well. So let's kick this thing off, man. We're gonna start just with our guests. As you guys know, every week we try and do something different here, bring on awesome guests. And this gentleman, man, he is a extremely awesome creator, writer. This man wears many goddamn hats. He does a little bit of everything. But and that's a great segue to the tip of the cap there. But shout out to you, Everborn. First and foremost, man, you hit your goal first of all in less than what 24 hours, I believe it was.
It was like 30 hours,
30 hours.
but I like to round down, so I just say 24 hours.
Nice. But shout out to you, man. As you guys can see, Everborn on the show again. All his information down in the link in the description below. Please go support everything he is doing as a creator. We support awesome people here. But let everybody know what's going on with you, Everborn, what you got cooking up, and where they can find you at, brother.
Yeah, man. So I'm Everborn Saga everywhere. That is everbornsaga.com, Everborn Saga on Twitter, Everborn Saga on Xbox and PlayStation Network. But what's going on right now is the Kickstarter. So I just want to thank everybody in the community. That's from this show to Primetime Gaming to the Iron Lords, all you guys. You guys embrace me like one of your own, and you help me get the word out. So like really, truly, like this is no bullshit from the bottom of my heart. I thank all of you guys because this is sort of the boost, right? This is it. I see a path now, and you guys help me to propel to where we're going. So the campaign has about 24 days left, and we hit the goal that we set in the first 24 hours. So we created stretch goals, and those stretch goals are designed so that we can give all the backers something better with what they got. So with the first stretch goal, everyone will get a hardcover Prince of Arcadia Ultimate Edition, and then we're also, if we hit the second one, that'll help us make the Ultimate Edition Volume 2, and then the third stretch goal is so that we can finish and edit the Everborn novel. And for those that don't know what Everborn is, it is sort of what would happen if you sort of mixed Game of Thrones with My Hero Academia, right? It is Western fantasy, but it's all done through the lens of shonen and seinen manga. There are 4 interconnected series, all telling a different part of the same stories. Prince of Arcadia has been out for a while. We're launching the 2nd series, Ariel's Adventure, and it's you can go to everbornsaga.com and click the link at the top or click the link below. Check it out. I think you'll like it. And we did a full animation so you can get a view of what this will look like as a series one day. So I don't want to keep talking, but check out when we leave here. So before you do anything, click the like button, listen to us talk and entertain you for about an hour, hour and a half, and then click on that link and check it out. You will not be disappointed.
Absolutely agree. So this is not his first time on the show. Go back, check the archives. Been on the show before, but a great friend here. We support everything he's doing, man. We support you. Appreciate you taking some time out once again. Another Saturday hanging out with us. I know you're a busy man. Like I said, you wear many hats. You got a lot going on. Once again, everybody, if you want to support what we're doing, you want to support him as a content creator, as just a creator in general. You see what this community does when we all put our hands in the cookie jar and support good people. So just shout out to you and everything you're doing over there. So let's move on to the compadres here. Let's just start with you, Pong. How you been? You've been really quiet. I know you've been extremely busy at work, but good to see you here, man. Another Saturday. Everybody know what's cooking up with you, brother.
It's beautiful to be here. It's Saturday. Everborn's here, man. Always a pleasure, sir. As you well know, congratulations on your success, as always, deserved. So that's awesome, and it's awesome to see you here. But yeah, it's Saturday night, man. I have been busy. Got a little time of gaming in. But otherwise, I am just excited to be back with all of you guys again. Another week and another fantastic show. We got the topics. We got the people. Chat. You guys are already lit, so it's time to get down to business.
Let's get it. Let's dive in, man. We ain't even gonna waste no more time. We're gonna get to our next two, and we're gonna dive in. So, Centurion, it's on you. Let everybody know what you've been doing this week, brother.
What is up, my fam? Oh man, it is Saturday. I am excited to be sitting here with my favorite compadres, ready to discuss games. We've got the amazing community active in the chat. Let's do this.
Let's do this. Let's dive in, man. And last but not least, quiet is kept down there, Mr. Fuzzy Belvedere. How you been, bro? How's your week been?
Well, with a voice like Fuzzy's, you gotta be quiet. Otherwise, you just might distract everybody.
I've been good. Thank you. Yeah, got a lot to talk about. So yeah, let's get to it.
Let's dive in, man. Chat. Let everybody know. Once again, hit the retweet, like button. Everything. Just let everybody know what's going on here at the Shop Podcast. We got a lot of things cooking. Shout out to Stubbs, King James, everybody in the chat hanging out live right now. Let's dive into the topics, man. So we're gonna start with the poll of the week, as we do every week here on the Shop Podcast, man. Every single Monday, I put up the poll of the week. We talk about it on Saturday. You guys interact. It's fun. Let's dive in. So the poll of the week this week was, if you could hand the Halo franchise, I know, blasphemy. I know. Some people will probably stop me right there. And the Halo franchise to another studio, which one would it be and why? We had 4 choices. We got Remedy, Guerrilla, ID Software, and then Insomniac. So it was a runaway. It wasn't even close at all. ID Software, 64%. Next closest, Remedy, 13. Guerrilla, 12. And then Insomniac, 10. I was actually pretty surprised. Well, I'm not going to say I'm surprised by the winner, but the gap, I thought there would be a bit of disparity there. But we're going to start with our guest, Everborn. Now, I know, like I said, this is blasphemous. We shouldn't probably even be talking about this. There's probably some Halo purists that are going to snub the shit out of this podcast. They're going to downvote it right now. But where you at on this, man? Which one would you choose and why?
I'm going to tell you what I said on Twitter. I would take it and hand it right back to 343. I disagree vehemently with the premise of this poll. Insomniac, I don't want Halo to become Resistance Fall of Man, right? Guerrilla Games, again, no.
Killzone?
What's that?
I said Killzone.
oh yeah, come on, man. Right? And then the thing is, id is fine, but I don't want Halo to play like Doom. Doom is very sort of rhythm based and it's too fast paced for me to think. Halo is Halo to me because it feels I don't know. It's just more floaty. I guess that's the only way I can explain it than all of the other FPS shooters. So
what you're saying is Master Chief is not the guy that just likes to go around and just punch everything in the face as quick as he can.
Yes, exactly. Right. And furthermore, people keep, shitting on 343, but how did everyone, and I'm going to pose this to everybody, how did everybody feel about the campaign in Halo 4? The story.
It was amazing.
It was amazing. Because what did they do? They, for the first time, and Bungie didn't even do this, they humanized the Chief. Right? And it made you realize what a lonely life he had, and his only friend Cortana that he thought he lost. And if you just look at in Halo 5, if you just look at the Chief part of the story, the idea that Cortana has now become a villain that he has to defeat or find a way to bring back, that in itself is good storytelling. The problem with Locke is that you don't put Locke up against Chief on your first time out, right? We saw how BVS played out when they wanted to rush to the fight with Batman versus Superman without first introducing us to these characters, reintroducing us to these characters. And I think Locke needed some more time in the dojo. He was a good character, but he needed some more time in the dojo before you're going to put him up against Chief. So you should have gave Locke an ODST type game on his own, and then you could have put him back and forth with each other. But every time I played as Locke, I was just like, when am I getting back to the Chief? So, but all that being said, I challenge anyone to go back and play Halo 5 right now when your emotions are not in that story. Just play the campaign for the sake of playing it, to have fun, and tell me that the experience itself is not amazing. I challenge anyone. And everyone pretty much agrees that the multiplayer in Halo 5 was great. So they had a bad day at the office when they showed it off, but I have every confidence in 343.
Awesome. And you know what? This is no slight to 343. And I knew
yes, it
that
was.
No, listen. You gotta give me a chance, everyone. You gotta give me a chance, all right? Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, all right? So it's not a slight. It's not a slight to 343. Once again, where this is like fantasy baseball. It's kind of one of those scenarios where you kind of look at it from just a fan standpoint. Like, I wonder what it would look like, but not saying that they would make a better game. So we just having fun with this. But I knew it was going to turn into that right off the rip. I know
that's why you didn't include Bungie in the poll, because everybody would have
chosen. No, absolutely. That was too easy, too obvious. So let's throw this over to you. We're gonna throw this to you, Centurion. Just out of those options, which one do you choose and why, brother?
Well, I guess I might have a little bit of a debate on my hands, but I guess I went off of the four choices in front of me, and I had to, I guess, pick ID Software purely because I feel that there's at least a rich amount of lore to Halo, and if you're going to have to hand off a franchise that's deep, that has a deep amount of lore to it, you're going to need to give it to a studio that actually understands the idea of kind of referring to that lore when you're trying to look for ideas and being respectful to it and not just like going AWOL. And I feel like Idea Software has done a good job with the Doom franchise. I mean, they've like totally reinvigorated it. Doom Eternal is definitely in my backlog, but from the previews that I've seen, especially with the DLC, I can't wait until I get to this game. But back on, you saw what I posted on your poll. I obviously chose ID Software, but I still stand behind. I feel like we're in good hands with 343.
Absolutely.
We really also still haven't seen what we're going to get from this new game engine. We've gotten hints and bits and samples and stuff like that, but we haven't really seen an actual demo of this new game engine, kind of like what we saw with the new Unreal Engine back last year. So I really am looking forward to what 343 can show off with the Halo franchise, and I'm looking forward to Halo Infinite and what they're going to give us.
Oh, absolutely.
One thing I'd like to ask everybody that chose ID. How is that story on Doom?
Okay, let that marinate. We're gonna let it marinate. We're gonna let it listen, we're gonna let it marinate. So listen, let's set this, let's just throw this. So Halo is not a franchise that you can just give away and or pass around to anybody. So I think we all
belong to the streets.
No. So once again,
Halo's wifey material.
Fantasy baseball here. So it's not. You can't. You can't give it away. Like, you really can't just pass this over and say anybody you can take this and do it. So with that in mind, but either way, just having fun here. We're gonna throw this over to you, Pong. Where you on this, brother?
Hey, you know what? I had to go, ID Software. If we're just looking at this, again, no disrespect at all to 343 or even Bungie, who created this masterpiece of a game. And I'm a casual fan, so I'm not even a fanatic here. But, if we're going to just simply look at the list for what it is, I mean, I just took a look at the gameplay first. Now, obviously Everborn brought up a valid point when you're talking about the story. But if I was going to give the franchise to somebody, which I would probably never do, right? but if I was going to do that, right, I would look at gameplay first. And it is undeniable what they have done with Doom. And I think Doom Eternal being the pinnacle of where they've come from, right? And even though Doom Eternal, I have my issues with it. I think they did a little bit too much platforming and that kind of stuff with it. At the same time, it is one of the tightest, shooters out there, simply because it has to be, because of the speed. You have to have the precision. And I believe that starting that at that base level, right, gameplay first, I believe it would be in the best hands with ID Software, right? And then I think you could build the story around it. And just because Doom doesn't have this grandiose style story that's fleshed out and has all this huge lore behind it, does not mean that they couldn't do it, right? I think there's a lot of creative people over there, and I'm sure plenty of them are writers in their own right, and I think that they probably could create a cool story with it. And I'm not saying that I would want Halo to play like Doom at all. I agree with Everborn there that style does not mix, but it would be a cool change up to have someone else's vision on it and to see what they come up with, right? And I think from that standpoint, and the graphical powerhouse, the powerhouse games that ID puts together, I believe that they could take Halo and do something special with it. Again, no disrespect. Huh?
What's that engine over at ID?
You're talking
engine?
That's IdTech.
IdTech.
Yeah, IdTech. Thank you. Yeah. So, but the point being is, again, no disrespect to 343 or even Bungie on this. Again, I personally would never hand it over to somebody else at this point. But I'm just saying, if we were going to do it, I think they have the most potential out of the list that you gave us to keep what we love about Halo in a lot of ways, and then actually give us a little bit more as far as a different vision goes for it. And I think they have the best chance of creating something special at the end of the day. So that's why I chose them.
Yeah. No. Once again, everybody, like, Halo's a very unique game with a very unique play style with a very unique lore. So yeah, I don't think that would ever happen as far as passing this off. But like you said, I think as far as just the list, they make the most sense. Now, there may be other parts of the game that I think some other studios would do better. Like maybe Remedy makes a better story, Like maybe the story, they do a better story individually, but that's really dependent on your style of those particular type of games. But we're gonna throw this over to Fuzz and we're gonna move on to the next topic. So Fuzz, it's on you, man. Which option did you choose and why, brother?
Bungie. No, but
Oh.
no, but in all seriousness, I have to kind of echo what everybody else was saying with it just because of the gunplay, the movement. But as Everborn was saying, when it comes to story, Doom is, I won't say it's like mindless shooting fun, but that's kind of the point of that game. Halo's not really that type of game, but if you wanted to make an offshoot, I would say they're probably the ones to look to as far as any MS or Xbox Studios in-house studio type of deal. But
Hey,
if I know I'm probably going to get a lot of flack and side eye from this, but if you want an outside studio to work on Halo, and it's just one of my studios that I like as far as their current game or past two games I've played a lot of, I would say Ubisoft's massive, but that's just me. That's a third person, not a first person shooter type of studio. So, but out of the choices out there, I think they would be the one to kind of make a good gunplay, graphical, staying true to the original vision that Bungie had set way back when. I think they could probably duplicate it, but yeah, there's not going to be a story. It's just going to be like, hey, create a whole thing of side missions of endless gunfights or just run and gun and shoot.
I want to know what Master Chief would look like.
Yeah, no, it would definitely be a different story. So
you'd have like
the
head of a couple Covenant hanging off the side of him. Dude would just totally look ruthless. He hits the gym anytime he can.
Yeah, go ahead.
I got $1 billion idea in case anybody from Xbox Game Studios is listening. How about you bring back Quake as a what do you call it game? Like a Fortnite type game. My brain doesn't work.
Battle
Royale, right? But it's all of the new and old Microsoft shooters as the combatants. So it's sort of like Smash Brothers, but an FPS Battle Royale. And you could play as Master Chief or Doom Guy or Marcus Phoenix or whoever else, right? But it's all the Microsoft owned, or Joanna Dark. But that is the way for them to sort of celebrate their characters, and you give that to id to make. Think about it.
Yeah, no. There's a lot of flexibility there. You definitely got the amount of characters you need as far as first parties to do something like that. I mean, Sony did that with the PlayStation All Stars. It wasn't as popular. But yeah, I don't know, man. That's something that I never thought about.
Making ID Software making a shooter, right, with all your favorite characters is I think is a different animal altogether than what Sony tried to do. Because we know as a shooter it would be amazing. Yeah. And then you got the name recognition of Quake, and then you got the Battle Royale, which is hot right now, and it's a service game which Microsoft loves. I'm just saying.
You never know. I didn't go ahead, Fuzz. I don't want to.
No. That's an awesome idea. The only other additional idea I was thinking, although it wasn't involving id, it would be a collaboration with EA and with the devs for Titanfall. Have a Spartans versus Titans type of game setup. I don't know if the timelines, I know the worlds are totally different, but a Spartans versus Titans type of gameplay, just online only type of thing. I would definitely like to see something along those lines. But I love Everborn's idea as far as having it where it would make a variety of a shooter with a variety of Xbox Studios characters. So yeah, have a have the Nasher in there and things like that. So yeah, that would be awesome.
I think Fuzzy's onto something here, PTK. I never even thought about it. You should have included Respawn in this list.
I did. You know what? Somebody said that.
See,
That-
And somebody made a comment, and I said, "God damn it, bro!"
Yeah,
yeah, that's exactly what I
that
thought.
right there. That is gold.
If you included Respawn, I might not have been so sanctimonious about it.
Exactly. I thought about it afterwards. I said, "Man, I missed it. Like that was a swing and a miss. That was for sure a swing and a miss on my part." But
Hey, just one thing. Shout out to Sean Su. He backed the campaign, so I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much.
awesome. Shout out to Sean. Mod of the year right there, man. We appreciate Sean Su here, man. Super faithful, super awesome dude here every week. Has been my mod since day one. So shout out to Sean Su here, man. So that's actually gonna wrap up the first topic of the show. We're gonna move along. Great topic, man. Shout out to some new people here. Shout out to Indie Gamer. I think it's Rodimus. Sorry about that if I said that wrong, brother. Shout out to you for stopping in, man. Hope you enjoying the show. So let's move on to the next topic. Yeah, man. How you doing? So this one is actually pretty cool because this was something that I thought about recently. I'm like, man, I wonder if this has been something that like they've had in the cards the whole time. So, do you think Game Pass was a direct result of 2013, or was it always in the plans for Xbox? So, it's almost a twofold question. So, we're gonna start with you, our guest of the hour here, Everborn. We're gonna start with you. Do you think that Game Pass did 13 have to happen for Game Pass to be where it's at now, or was that always the direction do you feel like Xbox was going to land?
I would say no on both counts.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. In 2013, Steve Ballmer was the CEO of Microsoft, and we all know, Don was running the show back then in terms of the head of the Xbox division. But I think with the ascension of Satya Nadella, the company has shifted focus, right? He came up on the server side of the company for their server offerings, and that eventually sort of evolved into their cloud business, which is rapidly becoming the largest part of the Microsoft company. And with that transition, he wanted to shift everything to services. And it's not just Microsoft, that's an industry-wide thing. You see Apple doing it when they try to like strong arm you to tell you to buy more iCloud storage so you can pay them every month. But I think, and I think if doesn't happen, if Phil didn't convince Satya about Game Pass, I don't think Xbox is a division of Microsoft today, right? So when Phil sits down in the office, and he's told this story before when he was running the show, Satya took over and he sat him down and he said, why does Xbox exist, right? And
that's a crazy question.
Which is crazy. And I think he probably had like snipers behind him. Like if he answered it the wrong way, it'd just been like lights out. But but in all seriousness, right? Like Satya Nadella has no problem canceling things. Remember Windows Phone? Remember what's the streaming thing? I can't even remember it anymore. Mixer, right? If something's not working, he will cancel it. But Phil must have sold him on this idea of xCloud along with Game Pass, because the end game is to transition Xbox into a service that runs on their Azure cloud, right? And it is that mission in mind that says, hey, we can be a business. I'm just talking about within Microsoft, something that rivals the Office business, right? And if not like Office Enterprise, at least Office Consumer, right? Office 365. Yeah. So and what that means is 100 million people at some point in the future paying $15 a month. And that, thinking about that kind of future makes you spend $7.5 billion on a Bethesda and maybe another $8 billion on Sega or whatever else they can get their hands on, right?
Reading the tea leaves there, huh?
Right. And no, but really think about it. And they are at the front of the market. You can just look at Netflix as your model. They know once they get successful, all the other publishers are going to want to open their own services, right? And pull their stuff out of Gamepass. So they are trying to build up their first party catalog for when that shoe drops, the same way it dropped for Netflix, right? And so they're just watching that. And like I said, it's not as a result of 2013, and it wasn't always the plan. But when the Azure business blew up in Microsoft, then and Satya Nadella took over, that is when Phil pitched him. And this is why you got to give Phil all praises due. He saved Xbox in the sense that it might not be here. And he told them that the end game is to transition it to a service. That might not be for 10 years from now where you don't have a box. I'm not saying they're getting rid of the box, but the idea of a service that you could have tens of millions of people paying you every month for is exactly what Microsoft is about at this given time. So thank Phil and thank Satya, not 2013, and definitely not Steve Ballmer.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And
definitely.
no disrespect to Steve Ballmer. I like watching him jump around at the basketball games, but just saying it wasn't always the plan for Xbox. Oh, by the way, and last thing, you don't shit on Steve Ballmer, because Bill Gates didn't want the Xbox at first, and it was Steve Ballmer that pushed for it. So you do have to thank him for the existence of Xbox in the first place, but taking it to the next level, you thank Phil, you thank Satya.
Nice. Awesome. So all credit due to all parties involved, man. It's a very complicated question because, it's just a lot going on.
Don't forget Jay Allard.
Yeah, don't forget him as well. So a lot went on, and that last generation was once in a, like, we've never had a generation where a company had to deal with that. The last time a company tried to do that was Sega. It didn't work, and we all see Sega ended up being just making pachinko machines and things. They're not even, they make a Sonic game occasionally. They do throw out, the Yakuza games, things like that, the Personas, stuff like that. But outside of that, they're not really doing much. But other than that, let's go ahead and keep this thing moving, man. We're gonna throw this over to you, actually, Fuzzy, next, and get your opinion on, where you're at with that. As Everborn said, there's a lot of layers to this, and a lot of people had their hands along the way. So do you think that is it a result of 2018 or 2013, or was it something that they were already on track for?
I think 2013 caused them to look at different things or different opportunities. They definitely had to kind of reevaluate how they're going to go forward. But I always from a business standpoint, I always like to look at the individuals that might be in the public's eye, and then sometimes their I guess interactions, whether it be snarky comments and things like that. But I kind of think that some of the snarkiness that we may have seen on Twitter between Phil and Mike Ibarra have something to do with the whole Game Pass thing. So I don't think it was always in the cards. I think 2013 helped create that opportunity to look at that, avenue going forward. But I think if 2013 didn't happen, Game Pass probably wouldn't be a thing unless there was some other, influencer or major, not really a major event, but something else that kind of kicks Xbox in the pants as far as, their profits and whatnot, as far as trying to keep that, at least that division going. But I've always wondered why Ibarra left. Yeah, there's always opportunities elsewhere. I've heard from some individuals that Game Pass was mainly his brainchild more so than Phil's per se. But if you look at like some of the snarkiness since he's left, it just seems like, oh yeah, he left on good terms, but you could still see that there's some animosity in a way. And I wonder if part of that is that, he came up with the idea and Phil kind of gets all the shine or credit for it type of deal. But in any event, when it comes to Game Pass, Microsoft had to take a L for it to even have a shot at and on the table, because it's a weird model in the video game industry. Like the first one to the door or the first one to the party isn't always the one that's going to, you know, get all the drinks or take home the girls or whatever you want to say. But it just seems like it was something that had to be done to kind of save face or save that division from going away. But I think Ibarra was probably, and I don't know if it was, you know, his, you know, idea to try to, you know, move higher up in the company or something along those lines. But I definitely think that the Game Pass idea was something solely separate from the 2013. It's just that the opportunity provided there was an opportunity to provide that idea or to brainstorm that idea to bring it to, you know, the boardroom, as opposed to if 2013 didn't happen.
Yeah. I think out of everything, what I'm getting just from the last you and Everborn talking is that it wasn't maybe not the direct result, but it was necessary in the process of the evolution of Xbox.
Yeah.
It's more of what I'm getting out of what Everborn is saying and what you were saying as well about, you know, Game Pass and where it's at and where it's evolved to. So no, that makes a lot of sense. So once again, a ton of layers. So we're gonna throw this over to you, Centurion. Get your opinion on Game Pass and its evolution, and do you feel like it was, you know, was it necessary, you know, 2013 to happen and to kind of maybe it sped the process up?
All right. For starters, let's point out, I love this question because you could ask this question to 10 different people and get 10 different answers, honestly. This whole situation with Microsoft and like what happened in 2013, there is a lot of speculation. Really looking forward to an executive one of these days writing a book, doing an audio book, whatever, just kind of talking about what it was like to be a fly on the wall back in 2013.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
So I'm going to be up front. I really don't know too much. I've read here and there. There's some people that probably have done way more digging into it. Was a Game Pass always something in the cards? It was probably something that was talked about at the Olive Garden, and they probably, you know, shot some ideas down on a napkin here and there. But it was one of those things where nobody really thought about it until probably, you know, Nadala kind of, you know, the whole got rid of Don Matrix, a couple other people that were kind of roadblocks along the way because they were trying to funnel money back into the Surface versus the Xbox. There was a lot of politics going on the inside, if you actually kind of read some of the articles. And, you know, so here's Phil Spencer basically with I don't want to say what's left of the Xbox brand, but it was an Xbox brand that was taken in a direction that completely alienated its consumer base. And even some of the developers and hardware even Phil Spencer in some interviews talked about how they weren't really comfortable with the product that was being released in 2013, because even they felt it was a little bit of a far cry from what the consumers were asking for at the time. You know, consumers were just like, why do I need a device that can help me stream television? You know, Microsoft always kind of thinking too far ahead. Anyways, I just think Nadala kind of hit Phil Spencer with this whole thing of like, everybody says, you know, where do you fit in? Where does Xbox fit in? Maybe there was that thought to always keep Xbox around, or at least in a small gaming division. Microsoft has always had a small interest in having games on a version of its platform or some or another. So I don't know if it was definitely going to be gotten rid of, but it was definitely something that would have never been taken too seriously until Phil Spencer did whatever it was, had whatever conversation, explaining to Satya this idea for a service that they could use, you know, the idea of a cloud-based structure that could potentially deliver games to people at home. But on what Everborn said about, you know, like 10 years from now, they might not need consoles. But here's one thing that we always need to remember. We are just now seeing hints of them upgrading the xCloud infrastructure to actually start pushing some of these new frame rates and resolutions for these games on the xCloud service. They're already trying to integrate the hardware that we use in our home into the xCloud server racks. That being said, home hardware and streaming-based gaming go hand in hand. One cannot exist without the other. And the reason why I say that is no matter what, the server racks are going to require some hardware-based system to basically push these games into the streaming platform. And Microsoft is just going to be Microsoft options. They already have to create this hardware for the racks. Why not also localize it and allow people to take it home so you can make a little bit of money? So no matter what, I honestly do believe that there is going to be some version of a home console, a local hardware, just because of the fact that they're going to be continuously making hardware to keep these server racks up to date, and we're going to benefit from that.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Pong. Just get your opinion before we wrap this up and move on to the next topic.
Well, this is a big one, right? This is kind of a what came first, the chicken or the egg, right? So I
like that.
Yeah, it's kind of like that in a lot of ways. But if you ask me, I definitely think what happened in 2013 and let's just say the first half of that generation definitely accelerated the idea of Game Pass. I think there was definitely factions within Xbox that had this idea leading into 2013. 2013 Netflix had about 45 million customers at that time. They watched it grow from 2013 to 2018. 2018, I think Netflix had about 125 million subscribers. So they watched this growth, right? And I think there was a faction, including Phil and maybe Ybarra, that had discussed this idea and had started looking towards the future. You don't get to be a nearly $2 trillion company as Microsoft is without having people who are forward thinking. Right. And Phil is a forward thinker, right? We just saw him bring it up again in this interview he did about the future kind of tech, that little conference they had, in which he discussed that they're talking about now one day developers being able to develop an entire game within the cloud, right? And we started hearing about the cloud, starting with Crackdown 3, really. Remember when they first announced that? Then they started talking about how the power of the cloud was going to change it all. So I think they started to realize, and as other people have talked about here, Azure, took off, and they started seeing the potential within what they had in their services. And I think those kind of ideas all came together. And then what happened was, after the big failure, relatively speaking, failure of the Xbox One during the first half of the generation, they realized, obviously when they decided that Matrix was no longer going to be there, that the old model wasn't working, right? And Nintendo and Sony are still following the old model. And Microsoft, I think, took a step back. And when things were being discussed about the future of Microsoft, I believe there had to be a discussion about, okay, if we're going to do this, and obviously this probably would have been something Phil and Satya talked about, if we're going to stay in this game, right, we've got to change the playing field, because the playing field we're currently on and the rules that we're underneath right now isn't working for us. And so I think that's where the acceleration came in, because then I think Phil, if this is how it all went down, and again, we'll never know. And just like Centurion said, and I've said it before, I really hope somebody does write a book. I hope Phil, whenever he decides to step down, oh man, it'd be incredible to find out what actually happened then. But I think at that point, they really started sitting down and looking at what they were going to do going forward, right? They could have turned into a publisher. They could have turned into a software company as Microsoft already is. I mean, that's what they are. They could have gone back to it, just kept making games. I mean, they made games prior to Xbox, right? They were they made games prior to Windows. So they've been in the gaming space for a lot longer than people sometimes realize. So I think they probably sat down and had that discussion. I think Phil went, he had nothing to lose at that point, and he went to Satya with the full plans laid out about all the ideas that they had, including Game Pass and xCloud, and said, look, if we're going to stay in this game, this is how we do it. We're going to change the model that we are currently using. We're going to shift everything over. We've seen the success now with Netflix that a subscription service can have. And Netflix changed their whole game, right? Netflix changed the game. They came in. They weren't going to play in the same model that everybody else was with, Blockbuster and those kind of places. They decided, no, we're going to go with this new thing called streaming, and we're going to change it all and tell everybody that our way is better. And it worked and it succeeded. So I think he came in there and said, look, we've already seen it happen here. We can translate it. We've run the numbers. We can translate this into the gaming division. Right, for Xbox, we can make a subscription service based upon that model that will work. That if we can get enough subscribers into our ecosystem, then we can be sustainable and we can actually make huge profits. So you can go back to the board and say Xbox is worth it, right? And I think that's where it all started. And Satya obviously saw the vision and believed in it. So I think 2013, at the end of the day, and that first half of last generation really accelerated to the point, and again, having Satya in that position, there was a lot of things that lined up perfect.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that had to happen for this to wind up where we are today. And they all kind of did. And so I think once that was realized, okay, we're going to stay in this game. Now we've got to get to work on changing everything. The past is gone. We have to start moving forward, and we have this future vision of where things are going to be, not necessarily next year, but 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road. And we need to get started now. And I think that's when they moved to this Game Pass and started putting their eggs in that basket and said, we got to build this up. So I think it definitely accelerated. I believe that there was probably factions within, Xbox and Microsoft that had discussed the future and kind of thought it maybe had a rough outline. They, again, looking at Netflix and subscription-based services, kind of had that rough idea of what it would look like. And then I think as the generation went on, it solidified. They put it together in a package and presented it. And guess what? Phil's got a seat at the big table now. He's got Satya behind him. And here we are now. And the future is looking bright.
Absolutely.
And they took the red dots off of him. So one thing, though, just Centurion. So when I said 10 years, that's kind of like a random number. But I think that you are correct. They will sell hardware as long as there is a market for it. And when maybe one day in the future, however many years from now that is, once game streaming is as reliable as movie streaming, I think then they would transition out of selling the hardware box. But I do think as long as there is a viable market there, meaning tens of millions of people that still want to buy local hardware, right? Like nobody's making DVD players anymore. Right? And that would have been unheard of when Netflix first started.
Yeah.
But here we are, right?
Well, I was actually thinking back in 2013, we were just getting out of the idea of getting DVDs from Netflix. Netflix was actually transitioning into being primarily a streaming service around 2013.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. So I don't think it's happening like anytime soon. But
I know. I was just, when people hear the idea of getting rid of consoles, oh my God, the sky starts falling, and oh my gosh.
Purses and things.
For me, I keep saying well, I'll get rid of my console the day that there's a holodeck on the other side of the house.
All right,
walk in there and just fire up again.
Let's go ahead and keep moving on. Though, great topic, man. Very complicated question. Lots of layers here. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Just saw Luke in here. Everybody, Mav just dropped in here, man. Appreciate you guys. Shout out to everybody watching this. Retweet the link. Super Chat is live as well. If you guys do want to help donate and support to the show, we appreciate you guys every week. So next topic. So this is something that I feel like we're one of the very few shows in the community outside of the Nintendo specific shows that regularly talk about Nintendo. For whatever reason, I'm not sure, but I don't know. But we doing some more Nintendo topics today. So is the Switch Pro necessary? This is something that we've been talking about, and I feel like we talk about it more than Nintendo fans because they play hopscotch with this news every month. Every month they play hopscotch. They play freeze tag with this Switch Pro thing. It trends, every so often you see it going crazy, and it's like fool's gold every time. So, do you feel like at this point it's necessary? And remember, last week or a couple weeks ago, we talked about them just finally upgrading the infrastructure after 18, 19 years. So where are we at? I mean, they're gonna sell $1 trillion of these things. In 3 years they've sold like 80 million Switches. So I mean, we're gonna go with you, Everborn. Where are we at on this?
All right. Well, first of all, I want to say that they don't have to do it because they will still sell a bajillion Switches. That said, if they do this, they can take part in this massive hype that is just around next gen right now, right? I think we're still in that phase where people just hear next gen and they have to go out and buy it. You have scalpers that go crazy. You still can't get a PlayStation or an Xbox right now. So Nintendo is figuring, why not get in on this action, right? And then they're saying 4K. We all know it's not going to be 4K or anything near it. They just mean it's going to display on 4K TVs. And to me, just the fact that it's an OLED screen in portable mode, that is good enough.
That's nice.
And I don't know if this is going to be more, if we more think about this like a Switch Pro, but I'll say one other thing, and this relates to all three of the major console manufacturers. I think that generations are done. I think that upon the release of the what's it called, the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X, I think that you're going to see backwards compatibility going forward forever. And I don't know that there is going to be a huge jump again. I think you're going to see PS5 Pros and Series X or Series whatever. And this is just another long of that. It's going to be tick-tock marginal upgrades as technology increases, and you're going to be able to play your old games and they're going to look better. I think that is the new world we live in. So I think this Switch Pro comes out, or whatever they call it, and then they'll have another one in 3 years after that, and they'll just call it the Switch, and we'll keep buying it.
The thing about the Switch Pro is when you say Switch Pro, I'm thinking you're getting a hardware upgrade as well. And I'm not even hearing people talking about a hardware upgrade. I'm just hearing screen resolution and OLED and everything like that. If it's a Pro, you need an upgrade on the specs. If it can output in 4K, isn't that an upgrade? I mean,
you want to know if the GPU is better, right? I would assume. I thought that it would be, but maybe I'm wrong. But I thought that's
not the rumor that I've been hearing, or just regarding. But once again, I'm not the biggest tech guy either. So
no, I mean, I could be wrong as well, but I thought that they were upgrading whatever the chipset is that was in there. And if that's the case, I mean, listen, let's just be real though. Are you gonna buy it?
Probably not.
You're a goddamn liar. Can
I just say something since you're on? Can I just say something since you're on the subject?
Yes,
I would hope they would upgrade the resolution because, forgive me, the Switch right now, when you play that thing docked, it doesn't really look good on a 4K television. But when you play that thing in handheld mode, it looks great because the resolution fits the screen that it's on. And that, if you're going to increase the resolution of that screen without increasing like the power of the GPU inside that thing, I think you're going to make the picture like look bad because people are now going to be like, oh my God, this is what it really looks like.
Yeah, I think it'll blow up. But Blam, more seriously, you really mean that if they put out a Switch Pro alongside Breath of the Wild 2 or the unicorn, also known as Metroid, you wouldn't buy it?
Listen, look
deep in your soul before you answer this question.
It's a complicated question with Nintendo, man. I've been riding with Nintendo for forever, man. It cuts deep with Nintendo. Why do you think we talk about them so often? I got a lot to say. I got to get it out. So
I
for
know.
me, for now, I may be capping a little bit because I mean, at the end of the day, you give me a good Zelda game, I'm probably more than likely gonna take the bait. In reality, but
Same.
I'm still not. We still gonna have this conversation at the end of the day. Because we got to talk about this. I mean, it's been a rumor that's off and on for the last few months. It's been trending here and there, but no real traction. So we're gonna throw this over. I think Centurion, we'd already, as you already spoke. Yeah, I believe, right?
Well, I just tossed in, like, I don't really have much to say if you want to, like, not concentrate too much on me. I kind of said, I guess my piece right there is like, how are you going to upgrade? Because I've heard they want to put a new screen in it. I haven't heard too much on if they're going to change like the internals of it and make it a more powerful console. But I will be absolutely honest. I will be just fine playing my games with Nintendo as is, because I don't even get to play my Nintendo as much as I really truly should. So I count me out on this one.
No, understandable. We can throw this over to you then, Pong. Where you at on this, man? Is it necessary? Do you think Nintendo
Yeah.
needs to do this?
Well, you know me. I respect the hustle of Nintendo. Again, it's not. Again, I don't buy Nintendo anymore. I haven't for a very, very, very long time. That's just me. I just don't have an interest in a whole lot of their games. But I respect the hustle, right? And I see my brother from another in the chat, Fun Speculation, aka Mav, and him and I have had this discussion, and he is a firm believer. He still likes Nintendo, but he wishes they would actually make a new console, right? None of this, other stuff that they've been doing, but they're never going to do it because number one, their fan base isn't going to demand it, and number two, they are making money hand over fist at this point, right? Because they all, out of the big three, they make money on their hardware, right? They make a lot of money on hardware.
A ton of
they
money.
never drop their price. They never goes on sale. They don't use current tech. They use older tech, and everybody eats it up, right? So they don't have to anymore. And good on them. Again, completely respect what they do. I respect everybody that loves Nintendo, man. They've created a rabid fan base that allows them to continue to do what they've done. But do I think this specific thing is necessary? Yeah, because I believe that I believe there's two major complaints I constantly hear, even from diehard Nintendo fans. Number one is battery life of the Switch. And number two is, like Centurion just said, what it looks like docked on any kind of 4K big screen, right? It doesn't look good, and Mav brings this up all the time too. So I think it is necessary to kind of try to start killing those two complaints that people do have. Because obviously most people use their Switch as a handheld, right? Most people don't dock. I think if they did it, they probably done the studies, but the majority of people don't dock it, or it's a limited amount of time versus how they use it handheld, right? So I think they've got to continue to work on the battery life, because that is key with any type of mobile device that people are going to use. And obviously they market the Switch, and people, word of mouth, and people take this thing wherever they go when they're working or whatever the case may be. And so I think that one needs to be cleared up. And then
they're going to give you some breakout solar panels on cardboard that you're going to turn into a hat and wear on your head.
Right. Exactly.
Hey, I actually almost exclusively play docked. Maybe it's because I'm old.
Yeah.
That's probably,
and there's still people that do, but I just say the majority of people that I've seen and heard, it is undocked. They just bring it everywhere with them, which is the great feature. I mean, that's why it's huge over in the Asian markets, right? Is because it is mobile. And so I think that's important that they clear that up. And then to take care of the people that are docked, it's almost unconscionable at this point in 2021 to have a system that does not look good on a 4K display, right? I mean, there comes to a time and point where Nintendo can't put off things anymore, just like how we talked about a couple weeks ago. They're finally updating their internet software after 25 years or whatever the heck it's been. There comes a time and point where even Nintendo can't ignore that they are so far behind the times that they have to do something, and they're only going to do, the minimum amount that they possibly have to get there, right? And to satisfy people, because again, they're going to keep their costs down so they can continue to just, bring in the money. And so, again, short answer, yes, I believe this is necessary. As Everborn said, the people out there, if they do somehow wind up getting Breath of the Wild 2 ready and roll it out, I almost think this could be a stealth drop, because like Everborn said, they are selling so much, of the base model of Switch right now. They could just continue to do that. But yeah. I almost think there's going to be a surprise drop with Breath of the Wild 2, and good luck. Good luck. You think finding a Series X or a PS5 is getting one? Good luck finding one of these. It's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, no,
so
it's crazy.
They know they're sitting on a gold mine.
Hey, I just want to reiterate this again, and I keep saying it, but I want people to understand. On Twitter, when you see me post the guy walking funny and then straighten it up, Nintendo is the Kaiser Soze of the gaming industry. Remember where you heard it. they limp out of every Nintendo Direct and just start walking straight at the end, knowing that they killed everybody.
Right. Exactly.
ridiculous. But that I mean, it's something
diabolical.
It's something that Nintendo fans have been wanting. That for whatever reason, they're vocal. They're vocal to the wrong people, though. They don't talk to Nintendo about this stuff. They don't. They talk to everybody else but Nintendo about this stuff, and I do not understand that. So, I mean, we got to point that attention in the right direction.
Everybody's afraid to talk to Nintendo because they might send their lawyers after them.
The DC was a DC. What do they call it? The
DCMA.
DCMA control. Yeah, you don't want them trucks to pull up, throwing you in the back like a sack of potatoes.
But let me ask you a question: Do you know of anyone aside from people's kids that only own a Switch? I don't know of anybody.
No, I don't. Not even big Nintendo fans. Like I know really, really huge Nintendo fans, and they don't just own the Switch. It's a great secondary console. I think everybody gets that.
Yeah, it's so weird. They're just able to like
float.
Slide. Yeah, and then everybody
float.
It could be an Xbox guy, it could be a PlayStation guy, but when it comes to Nintendo, they're a Nintendo guy. Or girl.
Yep. So it is what it is, man. Let's go ahead and throw this over to Fuzz. Get your opinion, brother. Where you at with this, man? Is a Switch Pro necessary? See the chat going crazy about it. Some people like, yeah, for sure. Some people like, no. But where you at on it?
Me being the Sega kid, I don't really care for Nintendo all that much. I might be the oddball here, but when it comes to the overall, I mean, to appeal to me, at least to my kids, it would probably make sense for them to do upgrade. But my kids are more. One in particular is looking more for a new 3DS than a Switch. Like I told him, I'll get you a Switch tomorrow. No, I want the 3DS, so the XL, something, the one that's like discontinued now. That I'm not buying the console off of eBay. I'm just not doing it. But they definitely need for somebody like it to convince me to buy a Switch. Something that can play to a 4K TV and at least look halfway decent. The key thing is all these reports I've seen so far, nothing has mentioned like any hardware upgrades beyond the OLED screen itself. No chipset or anything like that upgrade. And it's great that they use NVIDIA. I don't know if they're going to try to do some DLSS magic in that box or something. I mean, that would be great if they could figure that out. But like Pong said, battery life they got to focus on, and whenever you put hotter hardware in the box, it's going to suck through batteries a lot faster. So they got to figure that out. But I don't know. Is it needed? No, because they're selling them hand over fist. Like I would say, in 2 years, it probably will be more needed than it is today. But they're selling great as is. I'm looking to see how much more they're going to do with more recent game releases that are streamable. Like, I think Hitman 3 is a streamable game. I think Control's like a streamable game because the hardware just can't handle it. But a 4K or a Switch Pro or whatever the case may be, I would be more willing to look at it for myself if they had something that, you know, I could probably hook to the 4K TV, take with me. OLED screens on phones have been great, so having an OLED screen on a portable device or portable gaming machine would be awesome as well. But for their real fan base, it's not needed. But 2 years from now, that's probably going to change.
I agree that separation becomes evident in a couple years once we start to get these games that are made strictly for the new hardware. That separation and the capabilities of these consoles, and I mean, it's going to become night and day at some point when we start getting these titles in 2 or 3 years. You're going to be like, yeah, this is not like at some point it's just not doable. Like you're not going to be able to play it, and or you're just not going to be able to run it all on that hardware.
If anybody from Nintendo's listening to this, Fuzzy, you're going to get a job offer because you think it could last another 2 years, man. They're going to love how you think.
Listen, if anybody can do it, it's Nintendo.
Yeah,
they'll get 2 years out of that thing. Like you said, that DS, they've been just remixing that DS.
Yep.
That's all they not very many new features. They just been switching it up every now and then, and they'll sell another 50 million of those things. So it's crazy the draw Nintendo has. So let's go ahead and move on to the last topic, man. It's been a great show so far. Everybody in the chat, everybody watching live, once again, retweet the link. Let everybody know we're in here live. So last topic, we wrap things up, and then I got a big announcement afterwards as well. So stay tuned. Don't leave once we wrap things up. So last thing, this actually kind of something that happened. It was pretty stealthy. It happened to me. It was a fairly big deal because I thought this is extremely important because this could be something huge in the long run. So Epic, once again, Epic with that Fortnite money, they've gone out and acquired Fall Guys maker Tonic Studios. I wanted to get everybody's thoughts on that with some people because I've seen some people. Fall Guys is weird because I've seen some people say that it fell off. Some people say no, it's still really active game. I'm not 100% sure. I know it was like the flavor of the month for a few weeks. Everybody was on it. Everybody was talking about it, but I don't know thus far where it's at. But if anybody can revive Fall Guys, it's Epic Games. That's a perfect studio. That's a perfect developer and or publisher to get behind a game in a studio like that. So we'll start with you, Everborn. What do you think the pairing? What do you think becomes of this? Do you see any like Fortnite crossovers between Fortnite and Fall Guys? Where are you at with this?
I personally don't care about this. However, I think, first of all, I think you might see me in Fortnite. Like everybody's going to be in Fortnite at some point, right? Like, but that being said, I don't know. Epic is just they're making a lot of moves, and I think we really could see them become like, not that they're not like a huge publisher now, but like a real powerhouse publisher where they can sort of take on the best of them. And I think that now again, that studio specifically is, I'd like to see what else they can do, but having sort of those service type games that sort of like have like gigantic Twitch stream numbers. I wonder if that is the only kind of game Epic wants to make, right? And
good point.
If so, though, then they become less interesting to me. But the moves that they are making are amazing. And I always wonder, like, so Epic originally made Gears of War for Microsoft, and then Microsoft bought it. When is Epic gonna make another like actual serious game?
Well, that Fortnite money started rolling in, and things changed a bit.
Yeah,
I
but
was
now
just gonna say, when they find another game that can make Fortnite money, that's when we'll see another one.
Yeah, maybe it's Fall Guys, but that's the thing. Like, I don't know, man. I know that they make the engine that basically powers more than half of the gaming industry.
Yes.
And so why not like just make something where your your show. Make Lumen in the House of Nanite like into a real game and
Oh, the
publish that
demo that they
to.
showed.
What you said?
The demo that they showed.
Yeah.
PlayStation
Make
5.
that into a real game to just show everybody. Because right now, I feel like the coalition sets the standard for what the Unreal Engine can do, and maybe we'll see Ninja Theory do that with Hellblade 2, right? But shouldn't that be coming from Epic?
That makes
They
sense.
make the damn
You got a great point. I mean, you got a great point. We're gonna elaborate on that with this because that's another road we can go down as well. So I'm gonna throw this over to you, Pong. I mean, once again, you may or may not care too much about this overall, but I think it's very interesting though because, like I said before, if any, at the pinnacle, Fall Guys was a very, very big game. It was drawing a lot of big numbers as far as streams. Very family friendly game, and if anybody can put life back into a game like that, it's definitely Epic. So where are you at on this?
Well, again, from Fall Guys standpoint, I'm like Everborn. I really don't care that much. However, from a business aspect and looking at it from the outside, I think it's ultra interesting. As Everborn just alluded to, there was a time, when Epic, was known for Gears, even though it was Microsoft. Obviously, it was definitely Epic all over it, and that was such a groundbreaking game when it came out, and it changed a lot. That it's kind of interesting to see them at this point mainly focus on these smaller titles. And again, when we think of Fortnite, we think of a huge title. But again, the Fortnite, as we see it today with Battle Royale, was basically an accident, right? They had no plans for it to turn into this.
What do you call that? Not a dungeon, but a tower defense game.
Yeah, it was like more of a tower defense.
It was
building.
A mod.
Yeah,
wasn't PUBG like a mod? It wasn't even supposed to be
correct.
The actual game. It was just a mod.
Yes, that is correct. And so it's always crazy to watch this stuff because that has changed the entire landscape of the gaming industry. Everybody is chasing Fortnite. It's just crazy. So I think they found their model going forward for the foreseeable future with taking these games. Again, people forget they bought Rocket League, right? They bought the makers of Rocket League too. And Rocket League was a paid game when they purchased it, much like Fall Guys is, and they turned it into a free-to-play game. And Rocket League exploded, right? That's all Epic. And so I see them doing this with Fall Guys. I see them turning this into a free-to-play game, and what you're going to see is Fall Guys rejuvenated because it has fallen off from where it was. It's still being played, and there's still a ton of people who absolutely love it, and I can totally understand why. Party games and games you can get together with groups of friends and stuff, and do just quick matches with that are not necessarily skill based. It's just fun, pure fun. You just sit back and laugh. That is a huge market, and I think they're going to rejuvenate Fall Guys. You are going to see skins. You are going to see expansions on Fall Guys, which is part of the problem. It kind of ran dry on content real quick because I don't think the developers were ready for the explosion that they saw. So they got kind of caught off guard with how big the game got, and they didn't have any content ready. But I think with Epic backing it, turning it into a free-to-play game, starting their whole model just like they have with Rocket League. I mean, again, you go into Rocket League now, what are you doing? You're buying skins, you're buying different vehicles, it's crazy. It's a moneymaker, pure and simple. And they're going to do the same thing with this. You're going to have skins galore. They already said, now that they announced it, I don't know how many people read the actual announcement, but the devs did talk about they're going to start work on being able to have team battles and that kind of stuff where you can group up with friends specifically, because kind of right now it's kind of hard to get it all into one match with friends, but they're going to work on all of that. And what are they going to do? They're going to turn this into another Fortnite where people come together. Everybody's going to want to see who's got what skins. You're going to have that FOMO from people. And you know what? It's going to be a new thing again. And Fall Guys is going to shoot back up the charts. And I can see it happening all over again, just like they did with Rocket League and just like they did with Fortnite. So I think this is an interesting look at what Epic is doing going forward. And all they're doing is they're packing all those coffers, right? They're just, the battle chests are getting stacked. And you know what? And like I said, the foreseeable future, I think this is kind of their plans. But if there's something becomes available, if an interesting big developer becomes available at some point, at some point they're going to have the money to swoop in and pick somebody up maybe and get back into maybe the AAA space. So I just find it interesting what they're doing here, but I like it. I like the fact that they may turn Fall Guys into free to play. I assume they will, since that's their forte. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it was something that I saw, and I'm like, man, nobody's really talking about this really at all. I didn't really see so it's interesting because it could turn into something very huge. Like you said, those numbers shoot back up, streams start going back up. You start seeing crossovers within Fortnite. Yep. Fall Guys skins in Fortnite, all these different kind of things. All the marketing, the market is just going to draw being a part of Epic now.
Yep.
I mean, it just makes sense to me.
And one last thing, the really big thing that is going to be crazy to see is if they keep it on Steam or not, right? Because when they bought Rocket League, that was a huge deal. They pulled it off of Steam and put it in Epic Games only, right? So it's gonna be crazy to see what they do. The Epic Store, I should say, not Epic.
I will never play this game until it comes to Game Pass.
Exactly. You and me both, Everborn.
Absolutely. So I know, but let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Fuzz. Just where you at on this. I mean, I'm not sure how much you care about the actual game itself, but it is an interesting acquisition because that is a game that can get back to where it once was, and I can see it on a consistently basis being a big game. PC, it was at one point. We a lot of people talk about a game like Among Us. Fall Guys was right up there with the Among Us hype for a period of time. So where are you at on this?
Well, I pretty much wasn't going to really get hyped about the game until it came to Game Pass. I kind of let my PS Plus subscription run out around the time when that came out because I figured I was going to get a PS5, so I wasn't going to re-up until I got one in hand type of thing. But the acquisition is Epic just kind of banking on future money type of thing. It's something that they're going to be able to turn around and have more microtransactions as far as skins and things like that will help fund their bankroll for a good bit. But I think it's just something that Epic is going to be known for as far as trying to grab those games. I know Microsoft is looking for kid-friendly games, kind of along the lines of like a Minecraft, and if Epic can beat them to the punch, they'll try to. But outside of that, I'm not really caring too much about the game. We'll give it a try come Game Pass time this summer, I guess. But I think that's when it'll get some more life back into its player base. But as far as like Epic making a more like adult themed game or more of a gritty game, I think they're happy just collecting money off of devs as far as when they use their engine. It's like, go ahead, make your dream game and give us 1%. And then when you reach sales of over 1 million, then give us another, however much percent or something like that. So I think they're kind of, letting others use the tools and still making a decent chunk of change off of it. But Epic is going to be one of those players, just like Tencent, which I think Tencent owns a part of them anyway.
Yeah.
But they're going to be in this acquisition battle with Microsoft and probably Amazon, which tinfoil hat. I still think 2 years from now they're still going to acquire Sony. But that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, and it kind of fits the mold too. Just real quick, I know we're going to wrap this up, but Mediatonic as a whole, the actual devs behind Fall Guys, they've done a lot in the mobile space as well. They did Gears Pop for Microsoft, right? Mm-hmm. So they've done a lot in the mobile space, which makes sense with Tencent being a major player, with Epic. So, that's another avenue, and who knows what else they got in development right now. But the mobile market is obviously big to Tencent. So, another money maker for Epic and, their investors.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. So I do want to make sure I got to everybody. Centurion, did I get to you? I want to make sure.
All right. No, forgive me.
Yeah, I want to make sure. No, go ahead, brother.
No, you're all good. Has anybody here played the original version of Fortnite?
Yes.
Yeah, the Save the World.
Save the World, I have.
The Save the World, I actually find it kind of fun.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's where I think it's kind of funny how, everybody associates Fortnite with this battle royale thing when, as mentioned earlier with PUBG. And it's ironic as the story goes, when PUBG was trying to put PUBG when was Bluehole, who makes PUBG?
Bluehole.
Yeah, when Bluehole was trying to put PUBG on the Xbox, they were having some issues, as we all saw with the launch of PUBG on the Xbox. So they sent some folks over from Epic Games to go help them basically figure it out, because I think isn't PUBG done on the Unreal Engine or something like that? It was just, there was a reason why they chose to like get the guys from Epic to go over there, and when they came back, it was like all of a sudden, lo and behold, Epic Games comes out with this battle royale mode for Fortnite, and it completely what's the word I want to say? It put Fortnite on the map. Nobody cared about this game until battle royale came out on. If you want my honest opinion,
absolutely.
And now we see them. They're going to be a publisher. Obviously, Unreal Engine, one of the best game engines out there right now, also very flexible for developers that don't have a lot of money in their pocket. These guys literally, it's kind of funny. We all make jokes about Microsoft being into, subscription-based service kind of stuff. Epic Games kind of like has their portfolio too. This is what they prefer to do, is they like to take these games, make them free to play, just riddle them with microtransactions that are purely cosmetic, at least right now. I'm actually looking forward to playing Fall Guys. Now, for me, I feel like the big story here that everybody's missing, forgive me, I might actually start taking some shots out of the chat here on this one, but let's talk about this. Creates yet another exclusive fiasco for Sony. We have Microsoft buying Bethesda, potentially taking stuff away. We have Epic Games coming out, buying these guys, potentially making it to where a game is going to go multi-plat. And that's where it might now the PlayStation version of Fall Guys might not become multi-plat. But the way they go around this is they just create a new game that would be free to play, and they just put that on everything, and pretty soon the PlayStation version becomes a ghost town. So this is yet, I think, the bigger story, that it's yet another situation for Sony where they're like, no offense to Sony, but I've always said one of their shortcomings when it comes to their platform is the very little investment on the online multiplayer side of things. And they're always looking to third-party developers to create this for them. And this is a negative. This is basically the negative of using that system, is now another company has come in and bought somebody who you used for this kind of, a platform. And now you might actually kind of get rid of something that was actually exclusive. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. And it's, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you're good. No, go ahead.
I think it makes perfect sense. And I think we've seen how this played out before with Microsoft's over-reliance on second-party deals with the 360, right? And when you just rely on being on top so everyone wants to do a deal with you, you may not be on top forever. And if you don't have a strong foundation that covers you in all aspects, not just the one you're good at, third person, over the shoulder, story driven, adult themed games, you could find yourself surrounded by sharks, right? So you should always invest in wherever you're lacking, to make sure that you don't have any chinks in your armor. And that could be one. So
absolutely,
100%, they should. Sony should focus on more first-party shooters, but they won't make another Killzone, right? And they should focus on some, not all, but some games like this, some sort of games as a service
Multiplayer.
type of game.
Well,
And
I think that's why I think that was the
multiplayer.
success of Fall Guys is name a lot of online multiplayers that come to mind when you mention the PlayStation Network. And this isn't a diss towards them. This is just like the idea of when you say name an online multiplayer that's exclusive to the PlayStation Network that everybody just jumps on, you'd have to sit there and kind of ponder it. Where with Xbox, you're like, oh, well, there's Grounded, there's this game, Sea of Thieves, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. But at this moment, and this is the difference, Microsoft is correcting that. The same could be said for a third-person single-player game on the Xbox side.
Xbox.
Well,
True.
that's
right?
what obviously
But they are correcting it. And Sony does not look like they're correcting it.
Well, I think that what I was just wanting to get at was I think one of the reasons why Fall Guys was such an instant success on the PlayStation Network was the lack of content like that. If Microsoft right now was to all of a sudden drop a third person over the shoulder, single player narrative driven experience that was completely eye melting, I think it would explode just because of the fact that the community is wanting something like this. Like over on the PlayStation side, that is what they were wanting. And all of a sudden Fall Guys comes out and makes them an instant success, a faster success than they originally planned for, as what somebody said.
Yeah, no. That mean there's a lot of scenarios that play out in this situation between Sony and Epic and their relationship with the Fall Guys developer. So we're gonna go ahead and just move on from this because I do have something that I want to talk about before we wrap the show up, man. But it has been a fantastic show. Once again, everybody in the chat, you guys are live. You guys are amazing. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. So next week, it is a big deal here on the Shop Podcast. Next week is the 200th episode. I can't even believe I'm saying that. 200 episodes is crazy. And we're going to be doing something extremely special for you guys because you guys have been rocking out here with us for the last 4 years, I believe. 4.5 years it is. I have to go back and check to be exact. But and so it's essentially going to be a giveaway. So what I'm going to do is put out a specific tweet about the giveaway. You guys will know. I'll make it nice and pretty and visible on Twitter so you guys know specifically what it is. So, and essentially it'll be a random giveaway. So you'll have to retweet essentially to enter in the giveaway. So, the more people retweet it, the more people get a chance to win essentially, but it will be completely random. So that way everybody gets a fair chance. There's no, way to dupe the system essentially. So that's something that we're going to be doing next week. I'll try to list the specific things we'll be giving out. So that way you guys are aware of that as fans of the show here. But I wanted to make sure I put that out. So expect that tweet. I'm going to probably give it expect that tweet probably tomorrow. I'll say tomorrow on Twitter. So I'll do some brainstorming to figure out exactly how I'm going to convey that on Twitter. So, but yeah, retweet that tweet when you'll see it when I put it out, and you will be that essentially is an entry into the contest. Okay, the giveaway. So we're gonna do that.
I am going to retweet the fuck out of that. But no. More seriously, I want to say just congratulations for reaching 200 episodes. A lot of people start these things and don't continue with them, and for you to be doing this for 4 years and reaching 200 episodes, that is amazing. And hats off to you, sir. You are doing a service to the community, and I commend you.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Thank you guys so much, man. This is so fun, and we all enjoyed here. This is all become such a big thing for us. Camaraderie, the community has been a big part of our lives, and everybody here in the chat, you guys every week. I always try and we give our best here, and hopefully you guys have a little bit of fun in the meantime. So shout out to you guys for hanging out with us. But we're still going to go around our panel. I just wanted to make sure I got that out. So be on the lookout for that tomorrow at some point. I will make sure it's very visible. You'll know exactly what it is when you'll see it. Retweet it as much as you want to enter essentially into the contest, and I'll make sure you guys know exactly what you can win. All right, so we'll start with our guests once again. Thank you, Everborn, for those kind words, man. Before we part ways here, let everybody know what's going on with you. I know you got just let me backtrack. Congrats to you on everything going on with Everborn and the whole universe, and you hitting goal. You got a 30-day goal, and you hitting that goal in 24 hours essentially. Man, just that's a beautiful thing to see, and you spend time here with us on Saturday, man. But thank you. Positive energy going forward. Nothing but best wishes for you and all your endeavors. But let everybody know what's going on, man.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me. And if for the future, if you ever need somebody on a Saturday, please do not hesitate to reach out and let me know.
For
But
sure, man.
what's going on right now is that Kickstarter, and I set the goal very low just because it was my first time out, and I wanted to gauge, the interest in it. And I'm so honored and proud that the interest has been so sort of overwhelming. And that said, we hit the goal, but we have set up stretch goals so that we can bring to the world the Everborn novel, that is Everborn the Remnant. So you can check that out if we hit that stretch goal, because I got to get an editor, because I got a lot of typos in there. But that novel is pretty much done. It's just to get an editor and get prints out. So that's why we're still going on with the campaign. And the comic books are going to continue to roll out. So there is a slot there in a tier called the Everborn tier. If you support that tier, you can become, or whoever you want for your child or your significant other can become a character in the Everborn universe. And you will have a speaking role in one of the upcoming comics. And you'll get also an executive producer role in the comic. So check out everbornsaga.com. Click the link at the top. It'll take you to the Kickstarter, Everborn Ariel's Adventure Chapter 1. I thank everyone so much that has supported it or just shared it out. But we're still going. We've got 24 days to go. And let's see if we can also bring the first Everborn novel out of this thing. So thank you so much, everybody.
Awesome, man. Appreciate you. Continued love and support going forward, and the Everborn. Like I said, I damn sure donated. First of all, I need that T-shirt, so I damn sure donated.
Oh, it's coming.
It's for sure. No, but I just amazing work what you're doing over there. I know you wear a lot of hats, but everything you're doing, your vision for that universe, man. I hope we see this thing grow to some, to where we're talking about this thing being on Netflix or something at some point. So. But yeah,
shout out to A Rodimus, because he's been supporting, and he donated to the Kickstarter. And I don't like to call it donate, I like to call it a contribution, because you're getting something for your money.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, A Rodimus. Thank you, everybody, and let's keep this thing going. Thank you.
Not a problem, man. So let's go ahead and throw this over to Pong, man. Great show. Like I said, so far you've been here, newest member of the show. I say every week you've been a huge addition to what we do here, man. Balancing things out, man. You've just been that nice even keel, consistent every week, man. So we appreciate you. But let everybody know where they can find you at, man.
Absolutely. Awesome to be here again. Thank you so much, PTK. You say it every week, but starting to feel a part of the whole team now. And I'm glad to be here every week with you guys. It's a blast. I love spending my Saturday nights here. Chat, you guys were awesome tonight. Great comments, fantastic discussions in there, and appreciate you all coming out every week. Everborn, continued success, sir. I say it every time I'm on with you, but I really mean it. Anybody in the chat who has not checked out Everborn, go check him out. The stuff is unbelievable. There are so many people talking about it, and there's a reason why. This man is talented and deserves the success. So please go check it out and keep an eye on it. And if you can, support it, back it, do it. Otherwise, you can find me everywhere, PongSoul. On everything, follow me. Otherwise, here every Saturday night, Friday nights, I am on Xbox Ultimate. We won our first round today on the Halo tournament.
Nice.
Just to let everybody know who hasn't been paying attention to that, the Halo tournament's going on. It was put together by Fork Boy and GBTB Nation. We've got a pot. I think it's like $500. It's all going to iDizzy's family. So we're just playing for the fun of it. But great first win today. And you can find me there Friday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then again, I pop up everywhere. I was on Boom Show again this week. So you never know where you'll find me, but I'll always put it out in a tweet. So thank you all again. And I love you all. Again, with everything that's happened this week, remember, if there's somebody that you haven't reached out to in a while and said hi to, or told them that you love them, do it. Hug those closest to you, give them kisses. Just make sure you keep everybody close, and remember, it's corny, but life is precious, and we can never forget that. So thank you very much.
Absolutely, man. Shout out to you, Pong, man. Let's go ahead and throw this over to Centurion, man. Let everybody know where they can find you, man, before we wrap this thing up.
For starters, I will say this is why I like Pong. He comes out and, a lot of people think stuff like that, like myself, but he comes out and just says it. And so, I'm right there with you, man. I've definitely, I've got some people I need to make some phone calls after this show, and I was actually planning to do it after this show. So I'm kind of right there with you. But yeah, for those who tuned in tonight, definitely appreciate it. I enjoy being here every single week with, obviously the community and the gentleman right here. Definitely this is like a second family, like a second home, a brotherhood, or as like the neighborhood, as I kind of jokingly call it, because, like with every great neighborhood, there's the community and then there's the crazy people that stand out on the corner screaming, and you just got to kind of just pass on by, just let them be. But for those who want to join me and kind of hear my crazy rants, you can always find me at Centurion1307 on YouTube, Twitter, and of course, Xbox Live. You can also find me right here every Saturday, right here on the Shop Podcast, and also over on the TXR Podcast every Sunday night. And congratulations to you, Mr. PTK Blam. 200 episodes. And let's talk about... I don't like when I bring you up in conversation, because yes, I do talk about you because, you're worthy of being talked about. There's a lot of people that have been on your show, got their toe in the pool in your show. I have always stood by. You are like one of those great hidden gems of YouTube. So definitely congrats to you. And I'm honored to be a part of that experience.
Thank you, brother. I greatly appreciate that, man. Every single week you're here. Big part of the show as well, man. So thank you for the kind words. And last but not least, Fuzzy, man, let's wrap it up here, brother.
Well, congrats to everyone on reaching his initial goals on his Kickstarter and everything. I will definitely wind up checking it out a little bit later on today or tomorrow morning. I'm not normally into the comic book scene, but my wife is, so I might, with that tier you mentioned, that might be a thing as far as getting a character made for her type of deal. So we'll see how that goes. But thank you for joining us tonight. Thank the chat for joining us. Y'all are always awesome coming here, every week, and some new faces coming in and checking us out. Greatly appreciate it. Always great to be here with you guys. You're my second family as well. Shout out to Stag. Hopefully he's feeling a bit better later. But yeah, it's always great being here with you, Pong and Centurion and UPTK, which once again, congrats on 200 episodes. Man, I think I came in a little bit after or a little bit before the 100 episodes.
I'm gonna go back and look. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna tell you exactly when it was.
But man, it's been always awesome here. It's always great talking to you guys about games, and this being the hobby I truly enjoy. This is like the highlight, sitting up here on Saturdays. But for those looking to find me, you can find me on Twitter at @fuzzy_Belvedere. You can find me on PSN at @fuzzy_Belvedere, IGN. Oh, not IGN. Ooh, I wish. On Instagram at Fuzzy Belvedere.
Wait a minute.
I thought you were making an announcement there, Fuzzy.
No, I don't do articles.
Dropped on the show.
Yeah, you won't ever find me on IGN. But
you might bring some balance over there, Fuzzy. Finally.
No, but you can also find me on Xbox Live at Fuzzy Space Belvedere. More than likely, and I'm gonna try to get something started as far as doing like some car shows. There's quite a few people that's returning to Forza Horizon 4, so let's get some car shows going, and some picture taking, and some racing going. And definitely, I'm hitting Division 2 again, and more than likely we'll be on there later on tonight. So one of those two games is usually what I'm playing, unless there's a new release on Gamepass, which thank goodness for Game Pass. But yeah, it's just fun being here. Greatly appreciate it, guys.
Awesome, awesome. And last but not least, like I said, your host with the most, PTK Blam. Catch me on Xbox Live, PTK Blam, on Twitter. All of that information down in the link in the description below. If you didn't know already, we're gonna backtrack here just a little bit to Everborn. All that information is down in the description below as well. The link to the website, everything's there. Please go check him out. Please support that man and everything that he's trying to accomplish there. We greatly appreciate you guys. And like I said, episode 200 next week. No special guests on. We're gonna rock out with the crew, but it's gonna be fun. We're gonna do some giveaways. We're gonna have a good time. Let everybody know. Retweet the hell out of that link, please. Let everybody let as many people as know possible. And I will be putting that out tomorrow. So just be expecting that. We're gonna have some fun though. But appreciate you guys. Oh, go ahead.
Let me just warn you, I'm coming to the chat to cause trouble.
Oh
So
man,
I will be there.
that's
we
fine.
will welcome you with open arms.
Exactly. Because I can
And
almost
the Nintendo slander will be in full effect.
yes, we're not holding nothing back. But anyway, let's get up on up out of here. You guys, appreciate you guys so much. Thank you guys so much. Every week you're rocking out with us, man. Same time, same place next week. Appreciate you. We're out of here. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Peace out, everyone.
Later.